There are moments in a family's life, quiet, unannounced, when the path ahead seems to fork. Not with fanfare, but with a glance, a hesitation, a decision made in the space between one breath and the next. Such a moment arrives on Walton's Mountain in the late summer of 1943, when love, duty, and the ache to grow stretch the heart in more than one direction. John Walton has waited a long time for this, the return of his eldest son, Ben, from the Navy, not just as a sailor but as a partner. In his mind, the future is already taking shape, the mill humming with purpose. Ben standing beside him in rolled-up sleeves and sawdust on his boots, the two of them building something that will carry the Walton name into the next generation. He's moved a sturdy oak desk into the mill office, polished it himself. He's drawn sketches, plans to modernize, to expand. And out back, he's begun renovations on the old shed, a proper foundation, a real roof, and most of all, a front porch. A home for Ben, for Cindy, for the life he prays they'll choose. But hope, no matter how steady, cannot dictate another's dream. Ben steps off the ship in Norfolk with his duffel slung over his shoulder and something else tucked inside. Not just uniforms and sea stories, but notebooks filled with engineering schematics, equations, and the quiet, insistent voice that has grown louder with every mile he's traveled. I don't want to cut timber. I want to build bridges. He knows telling his father won't be easy. So before he goes home, before the hugs and the laughter and the inevitable questions, he calls Cindy, just her. He asks her to meet him in Norfolk. And then, together, to go to Washington, to see his mama one more time before everything changes. Cindy wants to go, but gas coupons are tighter than ever, rationed, precious, and she has none to spare. Then Erin, practical, sharp, and endlessly kind, does something quietly remarkable. She's been saving her own coupons for a long-promised week in Atlantic City, a real vacation, after months of 10 and 12-hour days working for J.D. Pickett, often bringing ledgers home, balancing columns late into the night. But when she sees the worry in Cindy's eyes and the hope beneath it, she doesn't hesitate. She hands over the coupons. "Take them," she says. "Go, be with him. The ocean will wait." And so Cindy goes. They find each other outside the naval base, the late sun catching the gold in her hair, the lines of fatigue and joy both etched on Ben's face. That night, in a modest hotel room where the wallpaper's peeling and the radiator ticks softly, Ben speaks. Not with defiance, not with apology, but with clarity. "I want to be an engineer," he says. "I want to go to college. I want to design things that last, things that help people cross rivers, connect towns, connect lives." Cindy listens, nods, takes his hand. "Then we'll figure it out," she says. Together, back home, John greets them with open arms and open plans. He shows Ben the office's office, points to the ledger where he's written John and Ben Walton at the top of a new page. He walks him out to the shed, proud as any father could be. "We'll finish the porch this fall. Plant roses by the steps, your mama's favorite." His voice is warm, hopeful. And then Ben and Cindy tell him. John doesn't interrupt, doesn't argue. He simply goes very still. The light in his eyes dims just for a moment, like a lamp wick turned down. He looks at the ledger, at the sawdust on his boots, at the son he loves more than his own breath. A long silence. Then softly, "Tell me about it. Not why not the mill, not what about your grandfather, but tell me." Because in that moment, John Walton does what the best fathers do. He chooses his son over his plan. Meanwhile, change less poetic, more persistent, knocks on another door. Erin, finally in her housecoat, feet up, a cup of tea steaming beside her, her first true rest in months, is startled by a sharp rap at the door. Before she can rise, it flies open. In storms, J.D. Pickett had askew, papers in hand. "Erin, thank heavens. The Army procurement officer's here, and he needs you. Only you know the specs on those generator parts." She refuses, calmly, firmly. "JD, this is my vacation, and she disappears upstairs. Undeterred, JD returns the next day, this time with the officer in tow. A man in his 40s, soft-spoken, with gentle eyes and a respectful tilt of the head. He doesn't press, doesn't demand. Instead, he smiles. "Ma'am, I've got 3 days before your office reopens Monday. Any chance you'd join me for dinner? There's a little inn up on Monticello Mountain. Quiet, good view." Erin hesitates. Then just a flicker of amusement, of relief, she nods. Perhaps rest, after all, doesn't always mean solitude. Back at the mill, deeper conversations unfold over coffee and something stronger. Tucked behind file folders in John's cabinet, a jar of the Baldwin sisters' recipe, offered with a wink and a solemn blessing. Cindy's father arrives, Colonel James Godwin, a man of discipline and quiet dignity. He speaks first with Ben, not as a future in-law, but as a mentor. He outlines the rigor of engineering school, calculus at dawn, drafting until midnight, exams that test not just the mind, but the will. "You'll earn every inch of that degree," he says, "but you'll be ready." Then he finds John among the scent of pine shavings and oil-stained ledgers. They talk, not about lumber yields or profit margins, but about freedom, about legacy, about the danger of love that binds too tightly. "You've built something fine here," the colonel says, gesturing around the mill. "But don't let it become a tether. A son shouldn't feel he owes the mountain more than he owes himself." John listens, nods, and for the first time, he truly sees Ben, not as the boy who swung an axe beside him at 12, but as the man who now dreams in vectors and stress loads. Then the call from Washington. Olivia's cough has deepened, her strength waning. The doctors are clear. Arizona is no longer optional, it's urgent. John doesn't hesitate. He'll drive her again, this time for longer. Ben offers to delay school, to stay, to help run things. John looks at him, really looks, and says, voice thick, "No, if I can't run this mill with you, as you, then maybe it's time to let it go." He begins making calls, looking for buyers. Elizabeth finds him packing that evening, small movements, deliberate. She doesn't speak, just leans against the doorframe, arms crossed, eyes glistening. He opens his arms. She steps in, and he holds her, long and close, as if memorizing the weight of her against him. The next day, Korobeth arrives, smiling, efficient, with a prospective buyer, a man in a sharp suit who talks of streamlining, automation, and turning the old sawmill into a modern production facility. Ben listens, his expression unreadable, until the man mentions tearing down the original beams, Grandpa Zeeb's beams, to make room for conveyor belts. Ben stands. "That," he says, calm but firm, "isn't progress. That's erasure. The children beg to see Mama one last time before she leaves for Arizona." John agrees. They'll leave in the morning. As the Baldwin sisters arrive with another small jar, "For the desert nights, John boy." Korobeth calls from the mill, "John, a word about a partnership." John steps inside and stops. There, above the door, freshly hung, sanded smooth, letters deep and true, is a new sign. John and Ben Walton Lumber and Design, not sons, not heirs. Lumber and Design. 2 worlds, 1 name. Ben steps forward, no bravado, just quiet certainty. "I don't have to go away to build bridges, Daddy," he says. "I can study by correspondence, start part-time. Design improvements here, stronger beams, safer systems, maybe even a new water-powered generator. We keep the soul of the mill and build something new around it." John looks at the sign, at his son, at the ledger still open on the desk with John and Ben written at the top. A slow breath, then a smile, not the one of a man who got what he wanted, but the deeper one of a man who realized what he needed was already here. Because on Walton's Mountain, the strongest structures aren't made of timber alone. They're built on trust, on listening, on the courage to change and the grace to stay. And so, as the sun dips behind the ridge painting the sky in gold and lavender, the Walton family gathers on the porch. No one speaks. They don't need to. The mill stands steady. The sign hangs proud. And somewhere, just beyond the holler, a train whistle calls not an ending, but a new beginning, rolling in on gentle certain wheels.